Hi everybody, it is me, Corrie Sommers, your local Los Angeles luxury realtor. Today we're going to be going over the cost of living in Los Angeles. And so stay tuned because you're going to want to check this out. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. Click that subscribe button below and don't forget to click the bell so that you'll get all the updates. Be right back. Thanks again for tuning in. So we're talking about the cost of living in Los Angeles, and what I really wanted to break down was the average cost of things and really what that means on a monthly basis, and therefore what it means your minimum income should be if you're considering moving to Los Angeles. All right, so first and foremost, like any major metropolitan city, Los Angeles cost of housing is pretty expensive. Now, what's a little different about Los Angeles and other cities is the city of Los Angeles is a pretty broad space. It includes the LA basin, and it also encompasses what we call it over the hill into the valley. So that said, there is a little bit of variation when it comes to pricing, but for the sake of today's discussion, I'm going to be referring to if you are a single person with a one-bedroom apartment. So that said, it could run you somewhere in the arena of $1,800 a month to $2,500 a month. Now this is an average. This is not a high-end luxury apartment, and this is not something that is maybe in an area where you have to worry about your car and your home being broken into every minute of the day. All right, so that said, again, $1,800 to $2,500 a month. That's just your rent. That does not include any utilities at all. Now, most places today also require renter's insurance. That could be about $15 up to $35 a month. And with renter's insurance, you want to get coverage just in case there's a break-in, just in case something is damaged, maybe in an earthquake or something else. You want to have some replacement costs. The next thing that is quite costly today, thanks to healthcare reform, is the cost of healthcare. And the reality is it has skyrocketed. 10 years ago, my medical insurance costed me $150. Today, that's $650 a month. That's a huge jump. And for most people, that's what you're going to be looking at with a major medical plan is $650 a month. Okay, so you've got your housing, your renter's insurance, $650 a month for medical, just for yourself as a single person. The next thing, of course, you need a vehicle. Now, Los Angeles has definitely grown its transit system, and thanks to Uber, there's a lot of more convenient ways, but really and truly, you most likely are not going to work within walking distance of where you live. You're most likely not going to ride the subway every day or want to Uber, so you are going to need a vehicle. And that monthly note can run you anywhere from $300 to $500. And I'm not talking an extravagant car. I'm not talking a BMW, a Mercedes, a Range Rover, or a Maserati. I'm talking your everyday regular vehicle, a Honda, a Ford, a Kia. This is what you're going to pay monthly. So you've got your car. Well, what else is required to drive in the state of California? Actually, in most states, it's car insurance. You definitely want to have car insurance here. The traffic is pretty heavy, and unfortunately, there can be a lot of vehicles on the road that don't have insurance. So you need to make sure that your coverage includes uninsured motorists as well. And that said, depending on your driving record, it could run you anywhere between $200 and $300 a month. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that maybe has like 4 tickets or 5 tickets. I'm talking just your average person. And again, going back to the car, about $200 to $300 a month. Now, the next thing is electricity. If your space, your apartment is at least 650 square feet to 750 square feet, maybe up to 1,100 for a one bedroom, you're going to be spending about $150 a month for your electricity. Now, that is taking into consideration maybe you have an electric stove. It's also taking into consideration the times that you're going to run your AC. Now, if you're running your AC 24 hours a day, it's going to bump up a little bit. But if you're running your AC conservatively, meaning only when you're home and needing to cool the place down, you should be looking at about $150 a month. In addition to that, let's talk about something else that is probably the most expensive in California as a state, and especially Southern California compared to other states, and that is the cost of gas. Yes, I have said that. Right now today, the average cost of gas for regular is close to $4 a gallon. It's not quite $4 a gallon, but if you have a high performance vehicle, it is over $4 a gallon. And that is really important to know, because depending on where you live and where you work, you are going to be burning gas. And that's a real factor, because you really have to remember, here in Southern California, in Los Angeles, it's a big city. And depending on where you live and where you work, gas is going to be a very real expense, because you could travel 30 miles one way. Okay, so 60 miles a day added to your other running around, you easily could do 80 to 100 miles a day. And that will cause your gas to add up. It just really will. And so until you've done it, you're not going to know exactly how much you spend a month. But I would like to say, on a conservative basis, if you're filling up your gas tank every 5 days, you are going to spend about, let's just say $250 minimum, depending on your tank size, depending on the vehicle. So just something to keep in mind. And let's say you do more driving than that. Let's say you're commuting and you're doing 60 miles each way. That's 120 miles, and you're filling up your gas tank every 3 days. These things will add up. So something to bear in mind, okay? The cost of gas is expensive out here. Next up is your cell phone bill, okay? So of course, we all know there's lots of cell phone options, but I think when it comes to cell phones, regardless of who you're with, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, it's all pretty comparable. And so if you have a cell phone and you have unlimited text, and maybe you have unlimited data, because we're all using our phones to Google things and to go online with social media, and let's just say you have 2 devices, maybe your iPad or a secondary phone, you're going to be spending about $120 a month on your phone bill, okay? Now, in addition to your phone bill, what else do you need in your home? Cable, internet, right? So that said, most of the providers here are pretty similar. I mean, sometimes you can get a deal for about a year. You know, we have Spectrum, we have Comcast, we have Dish, we have a couple of options, but they're all about the same price. So really and truly, be prepared to spend about $170 a month. Man, that's expensive. I remember when cable used to be $35 a month. But yep, $175 a month. On top of that, let's talk about food, grocery shopping. You know, the cost of food has increased. The cost of milk has gone up, the cost of bread. And basically, if you are someone that likes to eat healthy, unfortunately, healthy, clean, organic food is a little more expensive than packaged, crappy, you know, don't care how many pesticides and hormones have been pumped into your food costs. So realistically, you could be looking at anywhere between $600 and $800 a month if you are eating in, cooking, preparing, and grocery shopping every week. So it's something to keep in mind as well. One item I almost forgot to mention is gas for your place. So here in Southern California, we are a desert climate. So in the winter, it can get cold. And what I mean by that is, again, depending on which part of the city of Los Angeles you're in, whether you're by the beach, whether you're, you know, closer to downtown, whether you're over the hill in the valley, it does get cold in the winter months. When I'm going to the gym in December and January, it can be 40 degrees. So that being said, your place will get cold. So you will need gas, either because you have a gas stove, or you'll need to run that gas during the winter to heat your place. So I would say on average, $40 to $60 a month is what you're gonna spend on gas. So we've talked about food, right? Well, let's talk about that gym membership. So of course, there are some very cheap options out there. You've got Planet Fitness, $10 a month or $20 a month, and you've got Groupon for some special things. But let's just say you're somebody that likes to mix it up, and so you Groupon it out, and you do a new Groupon every 3 weeks. That could cost you $50. Or let's say you are a member at a high-end gym. That could run you, $120 a month to $300 a month. Or maybe you don't do any of those, but you like to do those challenges. Well, those challenges that you see on Instagram that talk about a 5-week or 6-week challenge, blah, 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 it's gonna cost you $500. And once that passes, your sessions, if you're working with a personal trainer or one of these, group sessions, is gonna be anywhere between $50 to $75 a session, maybe $80. But either way, let's just say $50 to $500 a month is what you're gonna spend just to be healthy and work out. Now, of course, there are some other options. You could walk, you could bike ride, there's the Santa Monica stairs, you could hike. There are some healthy alternatives, but most people are gonna join a gym, and so that's what you have to look forward to. On top of that, let's talk about eating out. You're a guy, you like to take girls out on a date, you're paying for that. Or you're a gal and you might want to go out with your girlfriends, or maybe you treat yourself once a week to a meal. Just expect to budget about $400 a month. There's so many incredible, great restaurants here in Los Angeles. I mean, I have my favorites, and I have my favorite foods like Italian, Jamaican, and I just can't have enough garlic. There's the Stinking Rose. There's just so many amazing places to eat. And that said, if you're a foodie, be prepared to spend some money. In addition to that, let's just talk about other forms of entertainment, the movies. Now, because movies have gotten pretty expensive and the movie theaters have improved, don't get me wrong, I cannot stand to go to a movie anymore unless it has reclining seats. That's the dream. But those reclining seat tickets, you're talking like $23. Now, you might want to do things smart, do a movie subscription like AMC has their Movie Pass subscriptions, totally worth it. But let's say you don't. It can run you $100 a month on movies for yourself, or if you're a guy and take a girl out on a date, at least $100 a month minimum, so keep that in mind too. And then the next thing, let's talk about some personal grooming. The hair. Depending on how you maintain your hair, maybe you get a cut every 6 weeks, maybe you have to get it touched up every week. Either way, I would say budget about $200 a month because it'll all level out. Right? If you get your hair cut every 6 weeks, or you get it colored, or you get it touched up every week or every 2 weeks, either way, $200 should cover you there. The last thing too, nails and pedicures. Oh yes, I said that, nails and pedicures. Now when it comes to nails, I'm gonna actually be a bit conservative on this because there are a bunch of nail salons throughout Southern California, right? So your prices can vary a bit, but let's just talk about your basic pedicure and your basic manicure. And I mean just like your basic treatment and a color. Pedicure about $48, manicure about $38. Now, you might be someone that comes and gets your nail color changed every week, or maybe you do acrylics, so you need your fill, or you do the gel polish. No matter what, let's just say your basic bare minimum that you're going to be spending on that sort of upkeep and grooming with your nails is at least $100. So plan for that as well. Now, all these things that I've just shared, they add up, and your range is going to be anywhere between $5,400 a month and $7,300 a month. Think about that for a second. That's the money you need after taxes just for these. And we're not talking living an extravagant life. We're not talking being out partying, vacationing, going golfing every week or any of those things. We're talking about the basics. So in order to do that, $5,400 a month, $7,300 a month, you're talking about making at least $65,000 to $95,000 a year just to live here and be able to pay your bills and not be really stressed. Mind you, I did not talk about shopping. So if you have a shopaholic problem, or if you are all about Manolo Blahniks, or if you're all about Gucci, whatever that habit might be when it comes to shopping or the brands that you like, that's also something to think about and add on to these costs. Now, of course, there's always ways to reduce these expenses, right? And maybe you don't make $65,000 a year. Maybe you only make $45,000 a year and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I ever gonna handle this? Well, you'll have to make some tough decisions and sacrifices, or there's always roommates, because really and truly, with 2 roommates paying $3,500 a month, it's gonna be cheaper than paying $2,000 a month by yourself. And you'll get to split the cost of electricity and your cable, right? So just a couple of things. Hopefully all of this is helpful to you. If you are considering moving to Los Angeles, these are things to know. Now, if you're younger, you might want to, when I say younger, you're in your 20s, you're fresh out of college, you might want to plan to come with some friends and roommate it up and make those sacrifices. But if you're a single person and your job is transferring here and you're thinking, how much do I really need to live? Make sure you negotiate at least $65,000 a year, and I would even push higher because you are going to need that just for the bare basics. So everyone, again, I hope this video today has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already tuned into my YouTube channel, please remember to click that subscribe button below. Did you click that yet? Click that subscribe button below and the like bell. Sorry, not the like bell. You can also like this video, but click that bell so that you'll get all the updates. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.